Hello, it's Ruben from Rice Digital, and I'm joined by Geraint.
Hello.
And we're going to play a first hour-ish of Shenmue I.
I can't wait.
No, I have never.
never played Shenmue, so
I've
you've
never
never
played
even
this.
seen it, or?
I know the main character.
Okay.
That's as much as I know.
Okay.
And I know that the third one looked very dodgy. On its initial first two showings, it was like, oh, that doesn't look good.
I think we'll just jump in and then we'll probably play through the first hour. I'll kind of talk you through some of the bits and pieces in it.
Make sure
it
you do,
is
'cause I wanna know.
legitimately one of my favourite games ever made. So for me, this is like quite a big deal. Like to be able to play through both games again is going to be quite an emotional thing, I think.
Well, they've blatantly done this for 3, haven't they?
The story is, the story is just phenomenal. I think it won't have aged amazingly well, but I think anybody that plays it and gets all the way through both games will be in for a treat in terms of the story arc.
I've never been too much of I've never got too hung up on graphical fidelity anyway. Like most of my favourite games are at least 25 years old.
So this is the... it's a shame they couldn't get widescreen out of the cutscenes, but this opening scene is amazing.
I'm getting weird Tekken flashbacks.
Because way back, they started talking about it as Virtua Fighter RPG was like one of the first kind of rumblings. Then it was Project Barclay, and then it was this.
You know what? I wouldn't have minded a Virtual Fighter RPG.
Cool.
Like some of the characters are really good.
Ryu-san, I'm alright, but Hazuki-sensei...
My father?
Still gives me
That's
goosebumps
dramatic.
even now. It's amazing. I must have watched this opening scene so many times over the years.
It's wonderful though. You're right. It does still look quite. This is quite an old game, isn't it? It
Yeah,
looks.
it's 12 years old, I think. More than that.
That does not look too bad for a 12-year-old game. I've seen games that are like only a few weeks old that look a lot worse than this.
The art direction is like super strong.
It's because it's not tried to go too realistic, I think, which helps it. It's gone for an art style as opposed to kind of over realism.
Yeah.
Fusan! Ryo-san! Fusan!
I don't even know what sort of game this is, like genre-wise, at all. I know nothing about this game. Now I think about it.
That's Landy. He's like the main bad guy, basically.
Father! Stay back, Miro.
For the last time, where is the mirror?
I've no intention of telling you.
Oh, he's definitely a villain.
Father! Why you...
Now then,
No matter how often you ask, I'll never tell. No, don't!
hand over the mirror. Or else, your son.
Wait! The mirror. It's buried under the cherry tree.
Why do I have a feeling that this mirror is really important and you should have probably sacrificed your son to make sure it didn't get into the wrong hands?
This is one of the things that makes it so so like magical for so many people was because it had this kind of cliffhanger for so long. So you don't really understand what the true kind of nature of the mirror at all. So obviously you know that it's a singularly most like important like object, but the significance of it doesn't really come out, and then it's like really strongly hinted at towards the end of the second game. But then obviously that's where it ends.
I think it would be a disservice at this point though. Like if that's the case, if they explained it in the third one, it should remain sort of.
Well, it depends on how. I can't remember how many chapters Yu Suzuki wanted the game to be, but while it's like an object of like real massive significance, in the case of the two games, it's you're aware of its importance because obviously everything kind of hinges around it, but you never get to understand what that really means. And that's why, because the third didn't happen and wasn't going to happen for so long, it's that kind of that feeling that you don't really know. Yeah, and also around Landy as well, because Landy is largely a very really mysterious figure across the two games as well. It's going to be very hard not to spoil too much, but like he plays a really important part at the start, as your father does, as the mirror does, but you never really understand the significance of what the relationship is.
For leaving you alone. What are you saying? Father! Your friends. Keep friends. Those you love close to you. No. Father! No!
So yeah, so it begins. So you have this like really kind of like epic beginning, basically, like really kind of poignant beginning. And the cool thing about the first one is he kind of throws you into this situation where it starts off like kind of really domestic. Like you're at home, you wake up the day after, and obviously you want to try and find out what the hell's been going on. But you've got your housekeeper there, Fukusan, who's your like sparring partners in the dojo, and life starts off in this game in a really kind of parochial kind of way, like really local, like small kind of village with your neighbours, and it kind of gradually like builds layer and layer and layer. Whereas like in a traditional kind of JRPG, you start off in your village and then like bang, you're like straight into an epic
you're
quest,
into the
right?
world. That's it.
And it's kind of, you have that kind of progression, but in this one it's a really slow burn. So you can kind of really take your time with it. Part of the joy of Shenmue is just kind of walking around and just looking at stuff, looking into people's backyards and looking at the detail on the, in the world around you, and kind of exploring kind of in a much more kind of pedestrian way. And it's kind of forced a little bit because you, in Shenmue I particularly, there's no way of fast forwarding time. So let's say you need to do something at a certain time of day. You have a notebook of clues. You look through it and go, right, okay, so I need to be at this bar, or I need to be at this store at a certain time of day to meet this person, or ask somebody this. But then you can't fast forward time, so you just kind of have to like wait, right, until it happens.
Yeah.
And it kind of gives you the opportunity to go, okay, well, I'll just have a little wander around for a bit and have a look at stuff and kind of take in the world. So once you've kind of got this like overshadowing like mystery and investigation, and there's something like really kind of epic going on in the background, but at the same time you're just kind of like potting around town, getting a job, picking up your allowance in the morning, going to see your friends. So it's got that kind of really weird mix, and it slowly starts to kind of converge as you get to the second game, and towards the end game in the second game in particular, it just becomes a lot more kind of, there's more urgency and there's more like a deeper sense of foreboding, and the action kind of is built up by then. But I really love the way how it's like really gentle, to start off with. So this is your notebook. This is like phone numbers of people that you can ring. So Nozomi is kind of like your girlfriend in the game. There's some like romance elements then.
Okay.
So you can you'll see her soon. And then the clues start coming. So this is kind of like obviously a kind of summation of what kind of happened that day. So your first job obviously is just to go, what the hell, right? Start asking questions. Now there's loads of detail and stuff. So you can like go up to the drawers, for example, and just sort of look if I can lock onto these. Yeah, tell them out. There's like a tape down here. I think I should be able to pick that up. So I think this is why the game was so expensive to make back then, because like everything is like textured and there's loads of detail. You can go through the drawers. There's a tape recorder there, so I can pick that up, and then the tape that I've just picked up, I can put that into it, and I can listen to music. And
Yeah, Master System, notebook.
oh right, yeah,
Like,
it was. Yeah, there's loads of
silly
little
little
details like that.
just silly little. I like nods to Sega and stuff.
Ryo-san, you should still be resting.
Dusina sounds, so she's like your housekeeper basically.
And you? Are you alright?
Yes, but I must keep busy, otherwise I'll get depressed.
I understand. But you needn't work too hard.
Yes.
One of the things is I was thinking because I'm going to start this again when
I have this for you.
at home, but
This is for today.
do you go for the Japanese language or do you go for the English language? And even though
From tomorrow.
part of me thinks it should be the Japanese language version, actually my fondness for the bad acting in this is so strong that I think I would probably
I believe he's in the dojo.
Unless it's a very good voiceover, I almost always go with Japanese with subtitles. Almost always, unless it's a really good voiceover.
I'm not going to
Otherwise, it
explore.
infuriates me.
I'm not going to explore the house in too much detail here, but if anybody's playing it for the first time, I would recommend that you do. I should be able to pick up a memory here if I can remember correctly. Yeah, here we go.
Oh, okay. So you've got flashbacks that are attributable to objects that you find.
While you're still sleeping in bed, farmers are working hard in the fields, carefully picking carrots one by one. So how can we waste them like that?
Yes, point.
There's so much stuff in this game that you can miss. I should probably point out. I think there's 3 memories in this house, if I remember correctly. But you can really easily miss them. The game is so rich, and you have to really take your time to like explore and look at stuff and pick stuff up. But you could easily go through the whole game and miss like a ton of scenes that one person might see and somebody else might just miss entirely.
That's my boy.
I mean, this game was PS2, wasn't it?
No, Dreamcast, and then the second one.
Dreamcast, of course. Yeah,
the second one
Sega.
came out on Xbox as well. But the first one didn't. They kind of did like a little movie compilation.
Because the first one would have been just at the cusp of the internet.
Yes.
The Dreamcast. So I'm assuming a lot of the stuff to find would have been more passed around verbally.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I mean,
as opposed to sort of like
yeah,
game
well,
FAQs and stuff like that exists now. And I miss
I think
that.
it would have been. 2000,
I really do. I
would have
really
been
do. Miss that.
2001. It would have been 2001, I think. But yeah, I think it was.
It was definitely early, really early 2000s. Because I remember this game coming out. I just remember I never had a Dreamcast, and until recently I've never owned an Xbox console. So like I've never been able to play it. So
I'll show you where I think there's another memory here. It might be quite nice because I think you can pick up all the memories really early on.
make sure you're watching this, kids. Pro Strats, where all the memories are in the house.
I think we have a guide going up right on Tuesday.
Yes, we do.
So if you, we should have a guide going up on Tuesday. It'll have, I think, all of the like stuff that's really easy to miss. I think they're going into that guide. So if you look on the site on Tuesday, there should be a like a breakdown of all the cool stuff that you can check out in the game.
That's right. Now listen. Tighten up your abdomen. Straighten up. Find your center of balance. Yes, like that. Yes, good.
You're right. It's much more funny with English voiceover.
There are there's some amazing dialogue in it, amazingly bad, but really quite endearing as well. So this is your dojo. Fukusan is in here every day, so you can spar with him. It's a good idea to spar with him every day, just because there isn't always combat in the game. There's a lot of combat in it, but there's lots of days where there isn't any. So you can go training in various places on your own, but it's worth training with Fukusan because the more you train and the more you use certain moves, the stronger those moves get.
Oh, okay. So like, it has proper RPG.
Yeah, it's kind of, yes, not in a
JRPG.
yeah,
Dinging every single time.
Yeah, exactly. No, but it does have an effect. And also, the more you train now, you can carry your save into the next game. So all the kind of moves that you become proficient in will then carry on through.
Wait, carry on into
Shenmue
2. Oh,
yeah.
That is incredible.
Now, whether or not, of course, they'll
You'll just have a load of players just ludicrously OP at the beginning of Shenmue 3.
Look what they did to Hazuki-sensei! They killed my father, right in front of me. I will have my revenge. I need to do this for my father.
That's slightly wrong motivations there.
So I think there was another one in here. Thankfully, the loading times are going to be much faster. Loading times on Dreamcast were like really bad. So where was it?
What's this slot for?
So that's what I mean. You do have to like look very carefully to make sure that
You don't miss anything.
yeah.
So is that, like with the camera, are you literally flicking it into first person perspective?
No, you can you can lock on, so you can go like that and you can look around. But annoyingly, I always invert, so it's actually like super annoying for me right now to to do it. But here's this one.
Or so you just weren't looking at it in the incredibly specific way it wanted you to wanted you to look at it.
That boy you fought with, what is he to you?
A friend from school?
So I mean, you could so easily miss these scenes, and there's a ton of this kind of stuff in the game. Even if it's like something really simple, like a scene where you're like helping somebody straighten up a street sign or whatever, you just don't know unless you really kind of take a deep breath and take your time to just explore everything really calmly. But it makes it like enriches the world so much,
and also gives you a much more clear motivation as to why. Looking for, like, solving why the father was murdered at the beginning actually matters, because this is character development.
Yeah,
it in like the truest form of what that means.
So treasure your friends. And friends you
probably the saddest thing about this, I think, is obviously not a huge amount of people played it originally, and the story really is pretty amazing. But I think people will be like super excited for this, and they'll kind of come into it, and they will almost certainly feel the controls and then go, oh, like compared to like, let's say Yakuza or something like that. You know, people are going to look at it and go, you know, I'm really not feeling this. But I would urge anybody that buys this just to make sure they get through the whole story, because the payoff is amazing. And then, of course, it will open up for. So I'm going to go out into the village, to see what the loading times are like. Because every time you kind of did a transition into like this transition here on the Dreamcast, this is like a million times faster.
That is really quick.
So that's so good because to play this on Dreamcast now, if you go into a location like a store, and then you realise you haven't actually done the thing you want to do, and then when you go back in, it just takes forever to do it. I mean, I'll just run down here. This is probably one of the more kind of famous things that kind of happens is there's a... I'm going to speak to these guys.
Hey.
Hey, mister!
Let's play baseball.
So
Another time, okay?
now you're kind of in like the local area talking to your neighbours, and then you're going to start quizzing
Hi
people
there.
basically.
Hi, y'all. What are you doing?
Nothing really.
Start asking people about what happened on the day that your father killed, and then you'll slowly start to like build a case, and then the notebook will kind of give you a trail of breadcrumbs. So this is probably one of the more famous things which to do with this kitten.
Hey, y'all.
Hi, Megumi.
Uh,
You got a kitten in there?
you promise not to tell Mommy?
Sure.
Okay, then I'll show you.
There's loads of these little sweet kind of
Is this
elements in it. Actually, if you keep going back to the shrine, it's worth checking back at this shrine to check on the progress of the kitty, because there's actually quite a lot of nice scenes attached to it. And again, you could just run past it every day, right, and just not even notice it. But
My big sister saw it. She said it was a big black car.
A black car.
Yeah, and she said it was really scary. And then me and Sis, we buried the mommy cat. And so now I can be the kitty's mommy. But Mommy says we can't keep the kitten at home.
So you going to keep her here?
Yeah, everybody's helping out too. Like Kota, Yasuo, and Kaio.
I see.
Kitty don't look so good. Think she's hungry?
so the question is, do you want to go to the store, get the cat some food, or do we just want to like run into town, check out some arcade?
Oh, go on, you got to get it food now. I'm emotionally invested.
Here.
Maybe she's not hungry.
Or maybe I just should have given it the fish and not
Yeah,
the two.
yeah, I was thinking
Like,
when
that
you
cat
picked up
kitten
tofu, I was
is
like,
Give it a try. If you crush it, she might eat it.
Yeah, that kitten is like not impressed with
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
It's just like
no.
But wait, we gotta think of a name for the kitty.
Oh, well, when I think of a good one, I'll let you know.
See, I thought Kitty was a pretty good name for the cat.
why not? Let's keep it the same.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
No point putting in massive amounts of effort. So you can literally check in on that cat every day.
Yeah. It'll be there, but obviously there's not everything happening with the cat every day, right? But if you make sure that you keep checking by the shrine every day, then there are kind of like some more like events around the cat that you can experience, but you wouldn't otherwise see. Let's go and speak to my neighbours.
That's a very conspicuous phone box.
Mishima-san,
Oh, hello, Ryo.
that day of the incident, did you see some men dressed in black suits?
Black suits? No, I didn't see them.
Well, did you happen to notice anything unusual?
Oh, nothing worth mentioning.
I'm looking for anything at all. Is there anything you remember?
I'm sorry, Ryo. The weather was awful, so I stayed inside all day. Did you ask Sumiya-san? She knows about everything that occurs in this neighborhood.
Is that so?
Okay, so far she has been the worst
So,
voice acting
oh no,
character.
there are so many really bad ones. I mean, if you really wanted to kind of like get a slightly pure experience, you could just jump in with the Japanese voice acting. But yeah, I mean, there are some lines in it which are just so bad it is. So you start to build up a case book, so you can see where you've missed. So there's a couple of things that I've missed already that I could have filled in above that.
Oh, so it puts them in order.
Yeah, so you can notice, but generally, if you it generally doesn't tend to matter if you've missed like a couple of them, because they all tend to lead to the same thing. I can't actually remember where she is now. I think there is a park somewhere that she might be in, if I remember.
So there's no map or anything. It's literally just.
Yeah, eventually I think there was a map in the second one. I think there's a map, which is a bit more complicated, but it's amazing just how quickly you just get to know the town, right?
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, in the game world in this one, in Shenmue I, isn't actually that big. The docks is fairly sizable, and the town is reasonably big. It's a reasonable size.
Hey, Leo. What's up?
Hey.
I hear you've been having a rough time. Feel free to talk about anything at all, okay?
Thanks.
Well, it's not her. But yeah, I can imagine that this is the sort of thing where you just learn the town.
Yeah, it just becomes because you kind of walk around this area so much that you will that it just kind of becomes your home because you spend so much time here. I think this is one of your friends here.
Now, Yuki. Yo! Got a sec?
Sure. Hey, is everything okay?
Yeah, but hey, on that day, did you see any men wearing black
That's
suits?
the least subtle
Black
segue
suits?
I've ever heard.
No, I sure did.
Yeah, I'm fine.
Promise.
So, hey!
See you later.
This is the local store.
The thing is,
It's so good that it doesn't take
forever to load.
yeah.
See, the thing I love with games like this has been so far, and like games like Yakuza, is that they remind me of being in Japan. Because they're so obviously quintessentially set in that culture that like it breathes that culture. So like seeing here reminds me of being on the kind of being in the suburbs of Kyoto, and it's just
Excuse me.
so similar in
Yeah.
terms of layout and in terms of the colour and the shape of the buildings and like the layout of where things are. It's all so familiar.
It's all based on if you look on YouTube, you can find like videos of the real places basically. That
Also, they went to like they basically just replicated real.
yeah, I mean it's not exactly, but there are places where it's obvious that that this is kind of where it is.
I see.
Use your head, baby boy, you.
Yes.
What?
Thanks, old lady. Thanks for nothing.
Yeah, so far none of these people seem to know anything.
Let's.
Also, they're significantly less shocked that a murder happened than I'd expect.
Yeah, they're just not massively bothered.
Someone around here might have seen
I do have to find her.
An objective marker would be great.
Yamagishi-san,
Oh, hello, Ryo.
are you okay?
I've been feeling a bit ill, but it's nothing to worry about now. Sorry.
No, I'm sorry to disturb you. I'll come back another time. Take care.
I'm sorry about this.
No, it's fine.
Oh. Unless it is the person that was like directly opposite that lady.
Just random cat.
Oh, hello, Ryo.
Kondo-san, the day of the incident, did you see any men in black suits?
The day of the incident? You mean the day it thundered, right?
No, the day my
No,
father.
the day my father was murdered. Like,
Around here that day?
What is with you people?
because I'm pretty sure it thundered before, but my father being murdered has only happened once.
I see.
Like if you want to be really like meticulous, you can like look at that's Mishima-san's house. That's like the ludicrous levels of detail in this game. Where is she?
So they each have little signposts on their houses.
Yeah.
There can't be many more people you haven't met yet.
No, there must
Like
be somewhere
out on the streets anyway.
Excuse me.
So sorry. I have to go now.
I see.
She says, resolutely still standing there.
There you go.
Hi, Yo.
On the day of the incident, did you see some men in black suits?
In black suits? No, I didn't. But I did see a cat, though.
You mean a black cat?
Oh my god.
Run over by a car. A kitten was crying nearby.
I swear these people are the least helpful people I've ever known be in like a town in an RPG.
Now that you mention it, Yamagishi-san took a terrible spill at the corner by the park. He was trying to dodge a speeding car. Looked as if he hurt his back. I think it was the same car that hit the cat. It must have been going really fast.
I see.
That's it. I'm coming for you, Yamagishi-san.
And that little ding is a good thing, I take it.
Yeah, that
means
basically tells you that you've updated your notebook.
Oh, okay.
I need to visit Yamagishi-san. So it's got like quite a few details that I've not picked up, but it's not super. It's not super important for the benefit of this.
Excuse me.
Yes.
What's this nameplate say?
It says Tajima.
Does it? I'm trying to find the Yamamoto's house, but see, my eyesight is bad, so...
Don't worry. I'll look for it. Wait for me in that park up ahead.
You're so kind. Thank you so much.
So if you wanted to, you would find the house, basically. Look at the things, find the right house, and then you could just go back and tell her, can I remember exactly where it is? I think it is actually by the park. But I may be wrong. Anyway, we'll let's go and find what's his name? How's that noise?
Yamagishi-san.
Oh,
It's
it's
rhythmic.
you now.
Yeah.
How is your back?
Yes, it's much better.
He's got a really weird 1,000-yard stare though whenever he's talking to
I heard
someone.
from someone in the neighborhood that you
Yeah,
almost got
it's
ran over by
quite
a car.
intense.
Yeah.
It must have been Megumi or Sumiya-san who told you. That driver was in.
Why didn't you say?
Yeah. Why didn't you pipe up when I
Rather than being like steadily
Could you
less
tell me about
helpful.
What happened with that car?
Sure. This black car came flying around the corner over by Sakuragaoka Park and went towards Dobuita.
A black car. Did you see the license plate number?
Maybe if there hadn't been any snow. And to make matters worse, I fell over. So I never had the chance.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear you're okay.
Okay, I think I understand the.
Okay, so I'm going to Dobuita, which I think is down here. Here we go. So now we're kind of getting into the
And it's also it's steadily passing with time. So how like
so there is a
there
curfew, so I need to get home. Otherwise, Ina-san will like tell me off for staying out too late.
Hi!
Where are you going?
It's a secret.
Is that right? Don't stay out too late.
Okay. Bye!
He's just got really intense eyes whenever he's talking to someone.
Stare you down, son.
Where are you going? Oh, soba noodles. I could go for some of that actually.
It's like it is super important to look at these signs as well, because as the investigation kind of becomes more complex, you have to like visit like certain places basically. So there's a map here that I can have a look at as well. It's so annoying that it's not inverted, so I apologise in advance for like staring at the sky whenever I was. So
Oh, okay.
this is kind of like one of the main streets you can kind of see where what kind of places you can visit.
Hiya.
Oh, hi, Rio. You know my daddy? He's a baker. My daddy's bread tastes really good. But hot dogs are my very best.
Speaking of hot
favorite.
dogs, I think it's time we went to go and see Tom at the hot dog stand.
Okay. That's
If you want
fine.
if you want some killer lines, where was he? I think he is this way.
Well, to be fair, that little girl was
It's
the
not.
delight in terms of lines.
There's the arcade, so we can go and play. Oh, I think one of my friends is in the. Is this the Smile flower shop? Is Nozomi in here? I don't think this is Nozomi's flower shop. No. So like this store here is a legit this exists in the real world.
What even
Gang
is
of street punks.
it? Notice how you don't ask where they're going.
Tom. Hi, Rio. I heard about your father. I'm sorry. Have one of my special dogs. It'll perk you up, I bet.
Thanks. I'll have one next time. Anyway, on that day, did anything unusual happen?
No, nothing.
I see. Well, if you remember anything, let me know.
Sure thing, I will.
What was the direction given to these lines?
Try my homemade pickles? They're guaranteed to make you happy.
Uh-huh. I'll drop by later.
He will also teach you the tornado kick, which is one of the more useful moves to come across in the game. Good crowd control on that bad boy.
But one of his homemade pickles.
Hey, yo.
Do you know anything about that black car?
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Did you happen to see a black car the day of the incident?
Nope, I didn't see it. That day we only had a few customers due to the snow and the rain. I spent most of the day reading the horse racing paper, checking out my odds, you know.
I see.
A black car,
Shinkichi-san, I'll see you later then.
Wait a minute, yo. I just remembered something.
What?
That girl over at Aida Flores mentioned something about it. That she got splashed with mud by a black car driving recklessly.
The girl at Aida Florist? You mean Nozomi?
Yeah,
time to meet
she's a
Nozomi.
classmate of yours, isn't she?
Yes.
I saw her working at her shop today.
Right. Thank you.
I think actually I'm already kind of interested in this.
It's such a slow burn, it really is, and it's so easy. Here she is, beautiful Nozomi.
But this is what I don't mind a slow burn as long as it's a slow burn that has
It's-
a kind of clear direction.
yeah, the slow burn definitely has direction, and the payoff is like
I can do.
mind-blowingly
Be sure to
good.
let me know.
Yeah. On that day, the snow changed to rain. I heard you were splashed with mud from a speeding car.
Yeah,
What an odd way of
What
putting
was
it.
it?
it was black, and the kind of luxury car you don't normally see around here.
Did you see who was in the car?
No, I didn't. It was too fast. But I heard a rumor that Tom had an argument with the people in the car.
Do you mean Tom at the hot dog truck?
Yeah. Why are you asking about that car?
No reason. See you later.
She's
No.
not stupid.
Cheer up, will ya?
Yeah, see you.
Yeah, cheer up. Your dad only died 6 days ago.
Let's go and see Tom, because basically,
He
I
lied.
asked you
It's very
exactly.
obvious. Like, the most
Exactly.
obvious tell, like, in terms of, like, speech direction.
Tom. I thought we were friends.
Hey, Rio!
Hey Tom, you just lied to my face about 5 minutes ago.
Tell me about those men in the black car.
What?
Nozomi told me...
He sent me on a wild goose chase that sent me halfway across this bloody town.
I don't remember.
They might have been the ones who murdered my father.
Your father?
Please try to...
No!
Right on, I'll try.
Those guys in the black car? What were they like?
I saw a guy wearing this weird coat.
What kind of...
It was a deep green, maybe velvet or silk, like something Chinese.
That's Lendi. What happened?
They almost hit one of my customers, so I gave them a piece of my mind. But that man, he gave me this glare. I ain't never seen such a cold stare, man.
Do you remember anything else?
No. Try asking Chinese people about Chinese.
Oh my god!
Sorry, man. But see that travel agency over there? They get some Chinese customers. I'll ask around for you too, man. Come by later.
Sure.
I'm genuinely
I
speechless.
know, this is some of the worst localization, I think. Yeah. I seek some information from Chinese people. Let's go to the New World Tour. I'm so happy that those loading times are like ultra small.
Excuse me. Yes?
I can't believe that little wander around the town took you
I'm
2
looking for
hours.
someone who knows about Chinese
Oh, yeah.
people. Do
Yeah, I
you
think
know
it's like
anyone?
an hour
Why
for
don't you find
every
the Chinese
day.
restaurant near the drugstore?
You mean the...
And a day
Ajinji?
takes about an hour, I
Yes.
think, from memory.
I'm sure
Oh,
the
okay.
employees are all
So-
Chinese.
That
Thank you
seems
very
about
much.
right. That seems about fair.
Ask Ajichi, Chinese restaurant owner, Tao-san. So I need to find Ajichi restaurant now.
That's a little travel agent there. God, December 3rd, 1986.
I'm gonna struggle to find it now, so let's see if I can see it. So, drugstore Honda. Flower Smiley. So down there. Flowers Ida.
It's there. The little
So
orange
yeah, so I
building.
need to go. I need to get on the road and then take a right. I believe.
I love how because you've essentially reverse controls, you've got inverted controls. You just keep staring wistfully at the sky.
Yeah, I know.
beautiful.
It is.
Like just this occasional sort of, oh.
It is really throwing me off. It's not. Just like atmospherically, like it's so good.
Yeah.
It's so
so
rich. It
beautifully
feels
well
so,
made.
and it feels so realistic.
Because I
as
think
well.
it's like, even though it's so old, because it was such an ambitious project, they put obviously so much time and love into it. It's almost like it's
Are there any other Chinese people around here?
Why do you want to know about other Chinese?
He asks a
Nothing,
good
really.
question there, Rio.
Something to do with what happened to your father?
Yes.
Oh no.
The only clue I had is that they were Chinese. Please, is there anything you could tell me?
You say Chinese people around here? But there's quite a lot of them compared to before. We don't really know the newcomers.
I see.
Why don't you tell him about the 3 blades?
Oh, the 3 blades.
3 blades? What are the 3 blades?
It literally refers to 3 different blades
Really?
that represent 3 different trades.
The barber, the tailor, and the cook. They all use bladed tools. The barber uses a razor.
I thought you said for him to tell him.
Uses scissors.
And they're just cutting in.
Just cutting in.
I get it. Most of the Chinese who came to Japan were one of the 3. It doesn't cost much to set up, so you can start the business quickly. People of the 3 blades also know each other very well. It's a good idea to ask them if you're looking for information on people from China.
Who are some of the 3 blade people around here?
For the barber, visit Maeda-san. For the tailor, see Itoi-san, who's making patches now. For the cook, go and ask Mampukuken Namen. The 3 blade people should know about other Chinese people as well.
Oh, there's also another barber shop, the Liu Barber and Hair Salon. But Liu-san's father is in the hospital now. His family's having a hard time. The shop's been closed recently.
So, I should go and speak with Maeda-san, Itoi-san, and Mampukuken Ramen, right?
Yes.
I see. Thank you very much.
So again, another ding. There we go, some more clues for my book. Missed like a ton of stuff here.
But hey, like you're
I'm kind of
you're
like blasting
moving
through
forwards.
it, yeah. Because
you're moving forwards regardless. That's the good thing about it, I think. It doesn't particularly. It's not like a sort of. I'm trying to think of a comparison, like in say Ace Attorney, where if you miss an important clue, like you cannot get any further forwards. At least with this, you can still.
You can just
forward.
to a certain extent you can. There are some there are certain like milestones and things that you can't pass until certain times. But
it's getting late.
It is getting late. Ines-san is going to be like so pissed if I'm late.
What is it, kid?
I need to ask you something.
Forget it! Who the hell do you think you're talking to? You frontin' with me?
What?
I have a question for you.
Who are you kidding? I will hurt you.
Okay.
I'm going in here just because
Is it a casino?
reason.
Yeah.
It's like a slot house, yeah. Just going to spend some money on some slots for no reason. I'm just going to do it just for the sake of it. It's really hard to win these.
Tokens for 100 yen. I'll play it once. How many will I use?
He's still got really intense eyes.
Let's see if I get lucky on my first try. Oh, do you know what? For a second, then I was like,
if that was good, if that had worked, I would have been so pleased because we would have caught it on recording as well.
There is a trick that you can do to be more lucky in this.
Excuse me.
Oh, hello there. Yes, what can I help you with?
First, you turned around to talk to the woman.
Yeah, and then it just wouldn't.
Come on in. All the slot machines here are fun to play. Why don't you try your luck?
Maybe next time.
Yeah, I'm out of here. It's a mug's game.
Well, you're not wrong, but like,
What do we hit
there's
these bars?
There's an entire city, just based around exactly that. So there must be a market for it, surely. Snack Linda,
Bob's Pizza, Toon Bar.
Bartoon.
I don't think I can go into any of the bars yet. Karaoke. I don't think I can go into any of the bars quite yet. Oh, maybe. Nice. Here we go. It's like you could just wander around. It is worth kind of going into all the buildings, speaking to everybody, getting like a flavour for the town, as it were.
Saijo-san.
What's the matter?
Oh, it's nothing.
What? That's such a pointless exchange.
Sorry. I'm really too sleepy now. I'm really tired.
I see.
To be fair, I see is the only response to what you just said.
There's quite a lot of that. I see.
Hi, Rio.
Akemi-san.
What?
I do like the fact that she just, I don't know what she was on about.
She just says hello as
like,
you're leaving.
as you kind of go through, like the ladies love Rio, right? And throughout the entire adventure, whether it's like Nozomi or Joy or whoever, he's just really, he just doesn't care. He just doesn't care. So like the exchanges with like the girls in it are kind of really, are really funny. Just because he just seems so like utterly,
completely just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Do you have a minute?
I don't know what you want, but we don't have time for the likes of you. Go on, leave us alone.
That's nice. I'm just investigating, my father who was murdered.
I think you can.
Hey kid, ain't got the time to
Yeah, there is like a scene in here. There is like a pool-based scene. I was wondering whether or not I could trigger it, but it's obviously not. It's not time to do that with them yet.
Hello.
Hey, see you around.
I'm not welcome here.
Okay, yeah. That was a firm no.
I can't remember what time you have to be home. I think it like automatically sends you home if you stay out too late. You just like it like blacks out and you.
But the club's open till 3.
I think there should be like a transitional scene where it goes do it's nighttime. I think I just don't go around in a big circuit. So we want the 3 blades, but actually all of these places are going to be closed now because it's going to be nighttime. I don't think I can go to any of the 3 blades places yet. Let's speak to this lady just for the hell of it. Or maybe I'll just run back and trigger the next day. If I can actually remember how to go back. I think I'm just going around in a big circle now. Yeah, I have.
Yeah, you're going to have to
Let's
come
go
off
all the
that
way
path
back.
at some point.
There's the pool bar again. So I think I need to go back down here, past Nozomi's flower shop, past the convenience store, past Tom's hot dog stand. Oh, what's that? I don't think this is the guy. Lady.
Can I help you? Looking for something special?
I'll come by later.
I see.
Yeah, it closes at 8 and it's like coming up to 8 o'clock now.
Yeah, and having worked in retail, it's very insensitive to walk in like 10 minutes before they close.
Okay, let's go back there. See you later, Tom. See you in the morning. I hope maybe you'll teach me the tornado kick in the morning. Maybe. Is this the Patches guy?
Yes.
Itoi-san.
Yes.
Do you know about the 3 blades?
Managed to
Who
catch one
told you
before.
about that, son?
I heard it from Tao-san.
I see.
That's why I'm looking for Chinese people that are members of the 3 blades.
In that case, I suppose you could ask Liu-san.
Ryu-san?
That's right. Over at the barber's.
Might be a barber's on the way back home.
But Itoi-san,
Can I get there in
how do you
5
know about
minutes?
the 3 blades?
Years ago, I was Chinese. Now, I'm a naturalized Japanese. In China, my name was Su Jianmin.
Is that so? Thank you. See you.
Okay, sorry.
Okay.
There may be a barber's on the way home. Is it here? Oh, I think must be the one that's actually closed. Yeah, this is my Ada barber shop. So, it shuts at 6, so I have to go there at 10 o'clock in the morning. So, let's go home, and then we'll go and visit that. No, I've missed something here. That's the park that I can go training in, I believe. I can't remember how to get home. Maybe it is this way? Yes.
I was going to say, you should probably look at a map,
Yeah,
but you found
I
it.
can just
It's
about
fine.
remember my way back. Oh, shit. These are the bad girls.
Got a minute?
Huh? Get out of my space, schoolboy!
Wow, okay.
Yeah, how about you?
Excuse me.
Huh? Who the hell you think you are?
Just a...
What? You asking for it, jerk?
Eyeshadow is on point.
What's with you? Jerk off! Go home to mommy!
Was it your mother killed?
So basically, there's just like a little backstreet with like two really unpleasant schoolgirls in it.
Well, that sounds like life in general, doesn't it?
Exactly. So there we go. Nice little Easter egg for you.
It's it's such an engaging game, considering the fact that not a great deal happens.
Yeah, it's once you kind of get into the flow of it, then it will see you through. The danger with it is that you feel it and go, actually, because the way that he turns is really clunky. And you should probably see me like at times like kind of stumbling, because he kind of like turns in like set increments, so it's kind of a bit weird. And it's kind of it does feel a bit clunky, and it still does feel a bit clunky. It actually feels better here than it does using a Dreamcast. The Dreamcast controller feels really like even more clunky. But so there are definitely like slight improvements to it, but like the key thing is to not get put off by its kind of obvious failings. You can see what's obvious. Some of the voice acting is terrible.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's much better if you put it into Japanese. It will probably feel more a little bit more lavish, but obviously they didn't really spend a lot on this voice acting. I think if it had been voiced now, obviously it wouldn't, because the standards have obviously raised in terms of voice acting.
I mean, it is since like 2001, so and English voice acting has got so much better, like so much better.
So I'm gonna go to sleep. I think we are actually coming up to an hour, so I think that's probably a good time to leave.
Yeah,
I think
maybe
that's the first day.
do the first day.
So my top tips are take your time with the game. Basically, take your time to look at everything, speak to everybody, get like a real flavour for the world. Don't get put off by how clunky it is, because the payoff is definitely worth it to get through both games. If you start it, finish it, because if you finish it, then
it's worth it.
Then it's absolutely worth it. So that was a little sneak peek into Shenmue.
And that was our first hour-ish of Shenmue 1.
Yeah, stick with it.
Yeah. To be fair, I now want to play this. So
it's so good. It is so good, and it's one of my favourite games for a reason.
I just need to find time.
The thing is, actually, if you did want to just like get through the whole, if you just want to just do just the story arc, you can blast through it pretty quickly. Actually, if you know where you're going, and you just go from like clue to clue to clue as fast as you can actually get through both games reasonably quick. But you kind of be missing out on so much stuff if you do. So many like little scenes between different characters, and like little bits of dialogue that'll just have you crying with laughter because they're so bad, or in some
like
cases
that,
just like really sweet little bits and pieces. So it is worth taking time with, but technically you can blast through it reasonably quick. So there you go. Cheers. Thank you very much for watching.
And see you soon, guys.
Cheers.
This room's got really
I know,
long.
it's too much, isn't it? I do actually have to go because I've got a stream and then I've got to go. But yeah, what do you think?
It's really good.
It is actually worth playing through.